Welcome to Psych 1000, Teen Pregnancy from a Behavioral Perspective. According to Erik Erikson's stages of personality development, adolescence is between the ages of 12 and 18. In the Caribbean, the report launched by the Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, the United Nations Children's Fund, and the United Nations Population Fund warned that rising numbers of girls under 15 in the region were getting pregnant. It is said while the global adolescent pregnancy rate is estimated at 46 births per 1,000 girls, adolescent pregnancy rates in Latin America and the Caribbean continue to be the second highest in the world, with an estimated 66.5 births per 1,000 girls aged 15 to 19 years. Behaviorists believe that a significant part of our human behavior is acquired through direct instruction and by observation of other people's behavior. When adolescents experiment with alcohol or engage in sexual experimentation, they are not necessarily behaving much differently than their peers from a statistical perspective. In fact, as they move through adolescence, those who do not engage in one or more of these risky activities are abnormal in comparison to the larger group of adolescents. Johnson and Maslow, IROF, 2008, page 1. Using B.F. Skinner's approach to behavior was the idea of the reinforcement theory, in which he believed that behavior can be controlled by its consequences or what follows behavior. He believed that an animal or human could be trained or controlled to perform almost anything by the type of reinforcement that followed the behavior. With teenage pregnancy, the pleasures to be derived by engaging in the act of sex, also the influence of peers engaging in sexual behaviors, parent-teen relationships, and sometimes the socio-economic factors can be seen as the reinforcement. This can increase the rate of sexual behaviors, thereby increasing the occurrences and chances of teenage pregnancy. The outcome or consequences of these risky sexual behaviors are often not foreseen, and the results are usually negative in the case of unwanted pregnancies. In light of this, the behavioral approach can be used to also curb the high rate of teenage pregnancy in the Caribbean, as it emphasizes the role of experience in modifying behavior. Dysfunctional or negative youth behaviors can be reshaped into new positive behaviors when the nature of the targeted behavior is clearly defined and when they are followed by certain consequences. Some teens may not be influenced to engage in such behaviors as they have identified the negative outcome of such behaviors. Some teenagers are positively reinforced by seeing the outcome of that sexual behavior as negative and may learn to not engage in that type of behavior.
What research method would you use to investigate this issue? The research method we have chosen to investigate this issue is the qualitative research method. The qualitative research method is used to gain an understanding of underlying reasons, opinions, and motivations. It provides insights into the problem and helps to develop ideas or hypotheses for potential qualitative research. Qualitative research is also used to uncover trends in thought and opinions and dive deeper into the problem. Qualitative data collection methods vary using unstructured or semi-structured techniques. Justified. Point number 1. Qualitative research methods usually collect data at the site where the participants are experiencing problems or issues. These are real-time data and rarely bring the participants out of the geographic locations to collect information. They are notes, videos, audio recordings, and images, etc. Point number 2. Qualitative research typically gathers multiple forms of data. Qualitative researchers typically gather multiple forms of data such as interviews, observations, and documents rather than rely on a single data source. Point number 3. It works towards solving complex issues. This type of research method works towards solving complex issues by breaking down into meaningful inferences that is easily readable and understood by all. Lastly, since qualitative research methods is more communicative, people tend to build their trust on the researcher and the information obtained is raw and unadulterated.
Participant qualifications. Our criteria: must be a teen mother, must be a teen mother that attends antenatal clinic, must be a teen mother within the Bahamas, Jamaica, or Barbados, a cross-section of men and women living in the mentioned countries that will subject to a brief questionnaire. This will be done at a church, a grocery store, and a club at each country. Explanation for our criteria. We want to use purposeful sampling. These persons would be most appropriate for this research. A sample is a systematic selection of representative cases from the larger population. Brinkoff, 1989. The persons selected are representative of the population of interest. This is true because our theory examines the collective conscience and the acceptance of individualism and freedom of choice as it relates to instances of teen pregnancy in the Caribbean. So, how do we select participants for this study? In selecting participants for this study, we first consider our theory. Society's acceptance of contemporary norm is responsible for the increase in teenage pregnancy. A theory is a systematic explanation of a phenomenon. It organizes known facts, allows us to predict new facts, and permits us to exercise a degree of control over the phenomenon. Morris, 2010. Collecting data associated with qualitative studies include, but are not limited to, focus groups, interviews, analysis of official records, and other relevant records. Our method: semi-structured interview for teen moms. Semi-structured interviews will be done with 300 teen mothers within the criteria, 100 from each country. Structured interviews elicit information about sensitive topics that might not come up in an unstructured interview. Morris, 2010. Justification: allowing some flexibility in question order and structure, as in a semi-structured interview with follow-up questions when appropriate will yield more information. Interviewer questions such as, how long were you and your boyfriend together before you became pregnant? When was the last time you received a positive comment as relates to the pregnancy? How did you feel about teenage pregnancy before you became a teen mom? These questions can easily lead to unsought but useful information that is volunteered or solicited through follow-up questions as needed. Questionnaire survey for selected men and women. There would be autonomy. A societal cross-section of 180 men and women, 60 from each country, 20 from each sample location, will complete a questionnaire survey on the theory subject. Justification: surveys are inexpensive and a quick source of data collection. A large number of participants are asked a standard set of questions. Morris, 2010. Cause and effects questions can be asked, also observational/relational questions that would give an in-depth view. Questions such as, do you know the parents of your teenage son/daughter's girlfriend/boyfriend? And, do you think giving teenagers too much freedom contributes to teenage pregnancy rates?
The following is a summary of a scholarly article based on teenage pregnancy. The findings of the study were based on 7 Caribbean islands. The participants in this research were family planning institutions, adolescent mothers, and nulliparous adolescent women. Nulliparous adolescent women here refers to women who have never given birth. Adolescent pregnancies are unwanted by society, including the church, family, and school. Causes of teenage pregnancy or adolescent pregnancy includes, but are not limited to, poor integration into the family, church, and school, dependence on peers and low self-esteem, unstable family structures. Other findings suggest that nulliparous adolescents are more focused and ambitious. They act responsibly. Solution to teenage pregnancy or adolescent pregnancy includes, but are not limited to, having frank discussions with teenagers regularly, reiteration of the effects, improving family planning programs in such a way to overcome the resistance of schools and churches. In other words, these institutions support abstinence, and on the other hand, family planning promotes safe sex by using contraceptives.